Right, I thought it's time to finally do my Premier League predictions for the 23-24 season. So here it is. Starting off in 20th, I've went with Luton. Everybody's going to be saying either Luton are going to do pretty well and stay up, or they're going to come rock bottom. I'm going to go on the end of the coming rock bottom. I just can't, even with a little bit of investment, I can't see that team staying up in the Prem. They might not come 20th, but they'll either come 18th, 19th or 20th. I've got them coming rock bottom. I think all of the other clubs that will be in the Premier League next season are going to get at least 3 points against them. The majority of teams, it needs to be a 6-pointer for the majority of teams, like Newcastle themselves. It needs to be a 6-pointer. I get it can be a tough place to go away from home, but when it actually comes down to the talent on the pitch, I don't see Luton doing that much in the Premier League. They might get a shock win, maybe in one game or two, but apart from that, I've got them come rock bottom. 19th, I've got Wolves. This is absolutely crazy, but yes, I've got Wolves going down this season. Regardless if it's 18th, 19th or 20th yet again, they are going down in my opinion. Wolves do not have a solid out-and-out attacker. Kolasinac, however you say his name, he's most likely not going to be coming back, even to a certain degree of he could potentially be better back from his injury, or he could just be even worse and they release him, but you can't release him. They've just released Diego Costa. I can't see Wolves staying up if they don't have someone who's going to regularly score goals for them. If they lose Ruben Neves this summer, I can see it being even worse for Wolves this season. It's a shame. They've got a brilliant set of fans. They've had a really good run in the Premier League. They had a good run in Europe. But it's time to go back down. I think getting rid of Nuno was a very bad decision. Next up in 18th, I've got Bournemouth. Bournemouth done exceptionally well in the previous season to stay up in the Prem, but I cannot see them staying up for any longer. They've got a massive investment going, some decently big name players, players you've at least heard of in other European teams, and they've had a bit of European experience there and then. But they've also lost a lot of players out on loan, and I just can't see Bournemouth staying up for another season. Surely not. If they do it, fair dues, come back to this video, lace in the comment sections, but I just can't see Bournemouth staying up again. 17th, I got Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United will just stay up this season. I think they do have a better team than Bournemouth. They've got a better team than Luton, 100%. I think they will do maybe say a double over Wolves or something, and that will be the differentiate between these two teams. It'll be like maybe even a 3 to 6 point difference between them on who stays up towards the end of the season. Sheffield United, all the newly promoted sides, realistically, they're not going to do so well. They're not going to get a mass amount of points, but teams like Sheffield United will do enough just to stay up. I think if they keep a lot of their players, they've still got Sander Berge. If he can stay, he can get himself back into that rhythm of how well he actually did do in the Premier League when he first come. I think Sheffield United will have a solid foundation, and when they build on that in the summer transfer window, it will keep them up. 16th, I've got Fulham. Overall brilliant season in the previous one, but they're going to fall off very slightly. I say very slightly. The point difference between maybe like 9th and 16th and even 17th, there's not going to be a lot of points differentiate. There's going to be maybe even just 10 points between them. But I think Fulham are really going to struggle this season against a lot of the bigger name teams, and they're going to drop a lot of points to the lower name teams, which is ultimately going to have them towards the bottom of the table. But Fulham are staying up for another season in the Premier League. So what's that, 3 in a row? When was the last time I saw that from Fulham? 15th, I've got Brentford. The main thing here is that they're losing Ivan Toney for half a season, but realistically they're still going to do pretty well. I can't see them doing as well. Obviously, they're going to lose someone who scores about 20 goals a season for them. If they don't bring someone in to replace that, I don't know what they will do. I don't know where you can get that extra 20-odd goals from. They've got that shade in on permanent, but he isn't even going to play in that position where you've got Ivan Toney constantly. I just can't see them doing too well this season. Finishing just above them in 14th, I've got Burnley. Everyone's thinking Burnley will do very well. I think they'll do the best out of the up and coming 3 back into the Prem. I think they will do the better over Brentford, Fulham, Wolves, Bournemouth, who are still in the Prem from last season. Company, I think, will be solid for them. He's already got a decent foundation there. If they can bring a few more loanees in, maybe he's even try the very best. I think he is staying at Southampton, but maybe he's like Teller in on a permanent, and I feel like they will have a very good season. 14th is a solid season for Burnley. 13th, I've gone Nottingham Forest. I think they'll do a little bit better than what they have this season. With the names they're bringing in the just mass amount of signings and the investment that they've got, I can't see them even going back down to the Championship anytime soon. They'll be like Bournemouth when they very first come up, Leicester. You know, they've had a good 6, 7, even 8 years in the Prem, and then you could probably see them falling off a bit, depending on how well they do. They might get up to the standards of winning fucking Champions Leagues again, you know what I mean? I doubt it, because football's changed a lot since, but I can definitely see it happening with Nottingham Forest. They've got a brilliant foundation set. If they add on to it, they've got a brilliant owner. I can see big things happening. In at 12th, and you've probably been wondering throughout this video, where on earth are they? Everton. I think Everton will have a fucking solid season. 12th is good for them. It's not as good as what they have been doing previously, you know, top 10, Ancelotti and everything. But I just can't see Everton doing as bad as what they have this season. I can't see it. They'll have a few more players come in the summer. Their team already is a solid enough team to just keep yourself afloat in the Prem. I think 12th will be solid. All the teams I've got below them, I think they could potentially even do the double over. I can see Everton picking up quite a lot of points this season, but it will not be enough to just stretch into that top 10, because the teams above them are simply just better. The teams above them are building something fucking special. We've got Brighton, Villa, Newcastle, West Ham even are starting. I know they've had a poor season in the Prem, don't get us wrong, but after that Conference League win, they're keeping Moyes. There'll be a big investment in the summer. Even teams like that are just going to start overloading and eventually just take off and be much better than Everton. But I think, as much as I hate them, I just can't see Everton going down. It would be nice, but I can't see it. So Everton fans, good luck for next season. Crystal Palace in at 11th. 10th, I've got Tottenham. This might be a shock to like maybe just Tottenham supporters, to be honest with you, but I think Harry Kane will stay. He always fucking stays. Harry Kane stays, but they're going to drop off massively. Are they bringing in the right manager? I don't know. I don't know if they're bringing in the right man for the job. But what they've got to focus on, no European football, which could potentially be good for them. Just focus on the Prem. Maybe even try and win an FA Cup or Carabao Cup, just something. But I think ultimately they will have a pretty fucking poor season in the Prem, and one of the worst they've had in a very, very long time. 9th, I've got West Ham. I think West Ham will do a lot better than last season. They will yet again have a very good run in Europe. But 9th, I can't see West Ham getting above the teams that are currently in Europe. But definitely they will have a very solid season. Remember the season where they nearly got relegated, then the next season after that they got Conference League. This is what West Ham are doing. It's such like a yo-yo effect. I'm not calling them a yo-yo club, because they're not. But it's like a yo-yo effect. They're coming down, they have a really poor season under Moyes. Something special happens in the summer, they won the Conference League, they're going to have a big investment, so something special happens, they're just going to shoot right back up. 9th is a solid place. It's no European football, but you've got Europa League this season. If you get knocked out that, you go to Conference League anyway. And maybe even just try and push above like your Brightons, Aston Villas, and maybe even Chelsea's to try and get Conference League in this season. Try and get a top 8 to top 7 finish if you can, but I think 9th is solid for West Ham. 8th, I've got Brighton. I can't see Brighton doing as well. I don't know, I just can't see Brighton keeping up that consistency. This season they were an incredible team, arguably team of the season, because no one expected this from Brighton. No one expected them to do this well. They had a really good start under Graham Potter, got rid of him. Graham Potter chose to go to Chelsea. They brought in this De Zerbi, who has done well prior to joining Brighton, but no one expected that to happen. No one expected them to do so well with the team. But I think overall they'll just be a constant, maybe it's just a top 10 club until they push that bit further and try and get top 4. They were very, very close this season to top 4, and that's a scary thought, even coming from a Newcastle fan. 7th, Aston Villa. What can I explain? Unai Emery's just been absolutely incredible with them so far. They're going to have a huge investment in the summer. They brought in Tielemans before I made this video. They brought in Tielemans on a free instead of paying money for him. His contract was run out. Leicester were stupid for not re-signing him last season so they could sell him. let him go for free. Aston Villa have picked him up. He's going to do exceptionally well in that Villa midfield. Villa are just going to be a force. I'm worried. It's Newcastle's first game of the season. Villa are going to be a scary fucking team to play against. And obviously they've got European football, which is even more special for them. Well done to Villa. Sixth, I've got Arsenal. I don't have a go this year, but Arsenal, is it a one-off season? No. They had a very good season. Was it one-off? No. They will win the Premier League within this decade. Before we get to 2030, Arsenal will win the Premier League. I can guarantee you that. But this season, they're going to fall off ever so slightly. Teams like Manchester United, Liverpool are fucking building something, and it's pretty scary. Teams like that are just going to overhaul them. They're going to be much better than them this season. I can guarantee it. Arsenal, it's still European football. It's what you are used to. It's the Europa League. You are used to that. But they've also got the Champions League to play in. I don't think they'd struggle with the fixtures, but Arteta's going to have to rotate that team a lot more. And you can't rely on them youngsters to try and build you a force to even attempt to win the Premier League again. As long as Manchester City are as good as what they are, Arsenal aren't going to win it. But I'm telling you now, within the next 7 years, Arsenal will win it eventually. It's got nothing to do with them coming sixth, I suppose. But I think sixth is a solid foundation, because I just think all these teams I've got above them are going to do better than them. Coming in at fifth, yet again, it's one of them teams. Where the fuck are they? You haven't said them yet. Chelsea in at fifth. I can't say. Surely not. Surely Chelsea don't do as bad as what they've done this season. Surely not. I can't see it happening. I think they might get rid of Graham Potter early doors, so they might have another poor start of the season. But if they get rid of Graham Potter, they bring the right man in, like Pochettino. I think it'll happen. I do. I think they'll eventually hit the ground run. Pochettino, when he comes in, he'll do a brilliant job. He'll bring in the right men that he needs to. It'll spring Chelsea back into life. But yet again, it's not just a manager change that would make the team instantly good. You've got to build a lot of momentum up with bringing in the right players and everything, and that's what Chelsea need to do. They need to sort their team out. It isn't just a managerial issue. It's not just an owner issue. It's not a background check issue. It's a player issue as well. You've got to sort that team out. The chemistry, the link up between them just doesn't fucking work. Get rid of the players you need to. Bring in the players you need to. Chelsea will be straight back. Top four then. Coming in at fourth, Manchester United I've got. Just literally a tad bit worse than last season. They come third and they're coming fourth this season. I just think with Liverpool, I've got them doing very well this season. If Liverpool do as well as what they can and what I've predicted them to, and Newcastle, Manchester United will fall off ever so slightly. It'll be like a 2-point difference between them and second or something. Like, that's how close and fine the margins are in this top four battle, and that's what I'm going to say. But Manchester United, it's nothing to dwell on. You're still getting Champions League football. I just don't think you're close enough to even winning a Premier League, to even think about winning the Premier. I don't think you're close enough. I think Arsenal are in a closer situation than yous, and I've got Arsenal finishing 2 places behind you in this season. Third, I've got Newcastle United. And I'm a Newcastle fan. I've got to big up my team. I've got to think we're going to do well. Why can't we do this well, though? We'll come fourth in the previous season. Why can't we go and come third? Why can't we do it? Everyone's saying, oh, but you'll have more games. You've got Champions League football, potentially an extra 18 games added on to your season. It doesn't matter. Why can't we do that well again? Go and do it. Everyone doubts we. Go and fucking do it. I believe in it. It's one of the very first times I get to be positive about my own club. We're coming third in this season. I can guarantee it. Top two then, I'm just going to say second Liverpool, first Manchester City. City, do I need to say anything? They've got Haaland, they've got all that. City are going to dominate the Premier League for the next few years. Liverpool, they're going to be absolutely outstanding next season and only miss out on the league by fine margins. But I think Liverpool Newcastle is going to be a 2-2 between second and third. But Liverpool, I hate yous. I don't like Scousers, but fuck me, that team is going to be incredible next season. If they sort just the slightest things out in the summer, I think they'll do absolutely fab. But they are my predictions for the 23-24 Premier League season.